In addition to importing photos and laying out text, InDesign allows you to create vector objects such as these thought balloons that you can see in this layout or here from this artwork that I've downloaded from iStock, my favorite go-to stock art and illustration resource. I'll link to that below. But here in this tutorial, I'll show you how you can create these speech and thought balloons as vector art objects in your InDesign layout. And because it's vector shape, I could infinitely scale this. So that means when you zoom in with Command or Control plus, the edges remain smooth, not like raster images that might give you those jaggies or the bitmap look of the individual pixels that comprise the whole. So if you would like the speech and thought balloons that you could use in your layouts to change the color or scale, just click the link in the upper right hand corner or the link in the description and you can download this for free from my website, graphicsgrrrl.com. Hello, creative! It's your graphics girl of graphicsgrrrl.com. That's graphics with PH and S, girl with no I and 3 R's. And I'm here with a quick tip to help you design your brand. The advantage of vector objects is that they can scale to any size, so that I could put it into different pages in my layout and have it at different sizes. So let's go ahead and do that. I imported this artwork just for reference. What I'm going to do in this tutorial is show you how you can make these various shapes in InDesign, and then if you like, you can go ahead and download my free template of these vector shapes, so that when you open them up in InDesign, they're selectable and scalable. But first, let's show you how you can create these, because maybe you have other thoughts on the shapes of your thought balloons that you'd like to have. All right, so I'm going to start with this basic one down here, the blue one. By the way, if you do want to import artwork, as you know, you can create a box with your rectangle frame tool, and then you can fill it by going to File, Place, or you can just do File, Place. In addition to placing artwork, I've placed this one actually off my artboard. The artboard is that white area that's indicative of your file. So I just came to File, New, Document, an 8.5 by 11 letter size document placed. You can see here that you are getting the jaggies because this is a low res, even watermarked image. When you can create your own artwork, you never have to deal with any of this. So here, I'm going to take my shape tool in InDesign and come down and choose ellipse. If you like, you could lock your artwork, but I'm just going to be designing it over here anyway. So I'm just going to click out and drag an ellipse. You can see that my oval or ellipse does not look like the color that you see here. Easy fix. Just like Illustrator, if you come over to the eyedropper tool, you can actually select out colors from placed artwork. Isn't that a time saver? And here you can see that this object actually had the fill color that I selected from my object, but it also has a stroke that I don't want. So on your keyboard, you can toggle between the fill and the stroke by clicking the X key on your keyboard as an X-ray. So now that the stroke is to the forefront, if you like, you can come up here in the options menu and select none. So that now has taken away my stroke and I just am left with an object that has a light blue fill. So now that I have one ellipse, all I actually would need to do would be to copy this and repeat it down, scaling it each time. Here I'm going to go ahead and select my ellipse and then Command or Control C to copy, and then Command or Control V as in Victor to paste. So once you have your copy, you can go to the lower right hand corner where you can see the bounding box, and now your cursor looks like the double-headed arrow. As you can see here, that's diagonal. And when scaling, if you want to maintain the proportions, you'll want to hit Shift as you click and drag in. Of course, you can see here in my original artwork that these shapes might have been a little less elliptical, more round, I don't know, something like that. So you can still have the ability to completely change the scale and proportions of your object when you do not hit the Shift key. Another way to make a copy of something is to Alt or Option drag it. You can see I can get the double arrow and I make a copy. Just like before, I could select it by the corner and make it smaller. So here, if I wanted to have 3 independent circles kind of looking like that, why, there you go. If you want to go for precision, what you could do is select the artwork that you placed and then choose Object, Lock, or Command or Control L. So when you have that locked down, now your artwork doesn't move. If I were to come back over here to my ellipse tool and click down and drag out an ellipse on top of my artwork, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in with my zoom tool here, getting closer in on my object. Never be afraid to zoom in on your artwork so you can see exactly what you're doing. Now that you can kind of see your vector ellipse that you're drawing on top of the artwork, an artwork that won't move because it's been locked down, you can probably get this to be dead on. So now I'm just going to go ahead and trace over the ellipses that you see there. Shortcuts to jump between one tool, such as the ellipse tool, to, let's say, the move tool, would be V on your keyboard. How do you know these shortcuts? When you hover over some icons, it might show you those. So here I was able to jump from the ellipse tool. You can see the shortcut there is L. And then to move it into place, I could hit V as in Victor to jump to my move tool. So if I go back to L, now I can create my ellipse, V to move it into place. So this was just a way for me to be able to see my shapes that I created on top of the artwork that I was tracing. So I could select all by clicking in the white space and dragging over all 3, or shift clicking each of these ellipses. And I could choose to group by coming to Object Group, which is Command or Control G. And now these will work as one. As I move them, they move as one. Would you like a free cheat sheet?
Nice.
Head over to graphicsgirl.com to download your free InDesign cheat sheet that will show you all the shortcuts in the program. Just click the link below. But as always, if you don't want to have no fill but a magenta stroke, you could still change it after you've drawn it. Here, after selecting it, I could come up to my options menu and say no stroke. And now I have no fill and no stroke on my object, so I'm going to go ahead and fill it. I'll fill it with this cyan so I could see the difference. Now in my layout, backing out, I could hit Command or Control minus on the keyboard. And now when I bring it over, I could see maybe I like this one a little bit better. So if you're new to creating vector artwork, it's a good idea. Go ahead and download something for reference that you can trace. All you have to do is hit place and then lock it. So let's do one more. I'm going to do this speech balloon. So I've shown you how to do a thought balloon. Let's do this one here for the speech balloon. I'm going to take my zoom tool and zoom in on this so that I can have something to trace. We're going to use our actual shape tool. So I'm going to choose the ellipse once again and create my ellipse. I'm going to use my move tool or black arrow at the top of my toolbar to kind of move it into place so that I can modify the edges. You can see here that I'm just trying to line it up to my go by. All right, so now for the tail end of this, what I'm going to do is come to the pen tool that's located on my toolbar. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about this side. I just want to be anywhere on the inside of my artwork. Here, let me zoom in. I know when you zoom in, you can see how pixelated this bitmap or raster artwork looks now. And I'm going to come here to the pen tool, choosing that first tool called Pen Tool from the subtools. I'm just going to click one time inside of my balloon. Feel free to be well inside of that edge. So let me zoom back out just so you can see. My next move is I'm going to click down here to get this point, but before you do this, the trick is this. Click and hold. Okay? So, and make sure you give yourself a lot of space here at the bottom. Go ahead and zoom out if you need to. Command or Control minus. So next with the pen tool, you're going to come down here. You're going to click and hold. Don't let go of your mouse. Keep holding. With your mouse button still being held, I'd like you to pull down and to the right. Down. Keep going down. It's okay if it's not where you want it to be, but pull it down and slightly to the right, and you can see you can capture that curve. It's okay if this isn't perfect. We can always go back, but I'm going to click one time on that point to reset my handles, and my last move is I'm going to come up here to capture this point. I want to be in that white box to close up the shape. If you don't hit the box, something like this, now that shape is not ever going to be able to be filled. So I'm going to Command or Control Z to undo that. And this time, when I sew it back up, I'm going to click and hold. Don't let go of your mouse. So here I go. I'm going to click and hold. Don't let go of your mouse. Whatever you do, keep pressing in on the mouse. And now you can see as I move my hand with the mouse pressed in, I have the ability to completely change the angle. So I'm just going to try to marry it up to my bitmap below. It's okay if it's not perfect. This is your vector shape. So when I'm relatively happy with it, I'm going to let go. So these shapes here have no fill but a stroke. Now that we have two independent shapes, the ellipse and then the tail of the speech balloon, you could decide to unite these two shapes into one utilizing the Pathfinder tool. I'm going to show you how to do that in a different tutorial. For this one, I'm actually going to keep these as two separate shapes. All I'm going to do is take off the stroke and fill it with a color so you can see the shapes distinct from the background a little bit better. So what I'm saying here is if I took this shape down here and did the same thing, make it no stroke, but put the color on, and I click off to deselect, right now you're seeing the outline or preview of the objects. I can come here under View, Extras, and choose Hide Frame Edges, or Command or Control Shift H. And now you can see that only when I roll over the object am I getting that preview of the edge. If I click off, you see this looks like it's all one shape. And maybe you want it to be one shape and we could group it or use the Pathfinder, but look what I'm doing here. If it is two independent shapes, why I could take this, I could, make it a shorter tail. I could flip it so that it goes to the other side. To flip it, I could come here to my Transform tool. From the Options menu at the top, I could choose to flip horizontal. And now look, now it would be on this side. So all I'm saying is if you don't want to unite these two independent shapes, you might have actually even more flexibility. So as I zoom out with a Command or Control minus, returning it to its original position, I could pull that vector shape right over here. Because it's vector shape, I could easily change the color. And because it's vector shape, I could infinitely scale this. So that means when you zoom in with Command or Control plus, the edges remain smooth. Not like raster images that might give you those jaggies or the bitmap look of the individual pixels that comprise the whole. So if you would like this speech and thought balloons that you could use in your layouts to change the color or scale, just click the link in the upper right hand corner or the link in the description and you can download this for free from my website, graphicsgirl.com. So if you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget, for free marketing, branding, and design resources, head over to graphicsgirl.com. That's graphics with PH and S, girl with no I and 3 R's. And I'm here to help you design your brand.